Bowen Yang, who you may know from Saturday Night Live, or you may just not know him at all. He's a pretty popular guy. His podcast has become very popular in recent years, so much so, Las Culturistas, that is. If you like Bravo, you definitely know about Las Culturistas. So much so that it seems like he may have left Saturday Night Live because the opportunities that were coming from the podcast itself, which is now very popular, were powerful enough to pull him away from SNL, which is the top gig in comedy. Now, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. Maybe there was more to that story, but arguably Las Culturistas was becoming a rival institution to Saturday Night Live, which we've seen happen all over the media. But that's not what we're talking about today. I'm going to read here from a Deadline article about about Bowen Yang and his co-host, Matt Rogers, walking back some comments they made. I am, of course, going to show you the comments, but the headline here is Matt Rogers, Bowen Yang promised to be, quote, more thoughtful after Jasmine Crockett comments. Following backlash, Deadline writes, over their comments about Representative Jasmine Crockett, Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers have broken their silence. Good Lord. On Saturday, the Las Culturistas podcast hosts walked back their criticism of the Texas Democrat after this week's I Don't Think So, Honey segment, in which they also took aim at Gavin Newsom's potential presidential bid. Hey, everybody, I hear the response. I'm taking every bit of it to heart, I promise, wrote Rogers on his Instagram story. Transparency and candor matter to me, especially on the podcast. I'm a very progressive person who cares deeply about winning these elections, but my phrasing was not right. I will be more thoughtful. I really do promise. I have great respect and admiration for Representative Crockett, and I regret that my words suggested otherwise. I just want us to win and be better at finding ways to help. Yang shared that statement as well, writing, should not have cursorily weighed in on this, understanding the platform, and will use it more responsibly. Okay, so after all of that, now I want you to take a look at the clip for which they were issuing these publicist-drafted, highly scripted, insincere apologies.
And don't waste your money sending to Jasmine Crockett. Do not do it.
I must agree.
Don't do it. You're going to waste your money. Take it from someone who sent Sarah Gideon like a ton of money in Maine.
Yeah.
Like, just don't do it. Don't waste your money. Don't do it.
It's hard enough to come by.
Those were genuinely funny, engaging remarks because, to borrow a word from Bowen Yang, they were, quote, cursorily weighing in on the politics. And in new media, that's what makes your platform entertaining and engaging, is that you are not a celebrity who is so powerful and influential that every time you decide to open your mouth and get into a conversation like this one, because you have a podcast where your job is to speak off the cuff, well, hopefully off the cuff, off the cuff. I mean, maybe that's a phrase. Maybe I'll start the phrase. But off the cuff for hours a week, if that's what you're doing, if that's what you're getting paid to do, the last thing you should ever do is issue an apology like that for making comments that will resonate with everyone except for a very, very, very tiny, tiny section of very loud people, to be fair, very loud people on the internet who decide to tell you that you don't know enough about Jasmine Crockett, who, of course, is running for Senate in Texas and against James Tallarico in the Democratic primary, and then going up against potentially John Cornyn or Ken Paxton. We will see. This is one of the most watched races in the country. But what Matt Rogers was doing was actually reflecting a pretty sophisticated grasp of Democratic Party politics by invoking Sarah Gideon, for example, and this trend of candidates who are fire on social media but fail in the general election because on the state level, these campaigns that are aimed at animating the exact same tiny slice of the public that is now complaining to Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers for going after Jasmine Crockett, who is not, I mean, this woman could not win a nationwide election. Likely she couldn't win a statewide election. That's what a lot of Democrats in Texas who are lining up behind Tallarico are concerned about, and for good reason. Jasmine Crockett will have a hard enough time running statewide, I don't think the odds of Jasmine Crockett winning a nationwide election, unless you had a truly horrible candidate on the Republican side, which is obviously not possible, but the woman is not in line with like the median American voter, let's put it that way. And her new effort to kind of become someone that has a better chance in a statewide election, because she speaks more measured, but she's kind of trying to do that and have her legs on both sides of the fence, right? Like the one leg in the blonde, beach, bad built, butch body side of the fence, where she's being super pugilistic and throwing off the norms, but now she's running against Tallarico, who is Timu Ritchie Cunningham and only wants the norms to come back. She's trying to do both of those things. And so the odds that Matt Rogers is correct, that Jasmine Crockett would be a Sarah Gideon who slurps up all of this small dollar cash, or even, from famous podcasters like Matt Rogers, some big checks, and then ultimately fizzles out because the Texas Senate race is in all likelihood going to stay with John Cornyn. Now, we mentioned Beto O'Rourke earlier in the show. He made that a pretty close race, but he did not win. With all of that money and energy, he did not win. So again, the odds of Democrats winning Texas, not great. The odds of them winning with Jasmine Crockett, even lower. They made that obvious point in a way that was almost begrudging from particularly Bowen Yang, who also issued this apology. But that word that Bowen Yang used, that he, quote, cursorily weighed in, really stands out to me, because the reason people like these platforms is that they involve I'm a journalist, so I don't think this applies to me. But if you're somebody who is just chatting, it is more cursory. I try not to be ever cursory with reporting or facts, but with commentary, that is something that's more authentic, right? I'm not running it by a million different editors or producers. There's no script for this show, and there's no script for their show. And that's in this low institutional trust environment. People want to feel like they're part of the process. It's engaging. And I'm just talking about myself as a viewer. It brings you, and it feels more trustworthy, right? Because you can see somebody's thought process working itself out in real time, especially when you're one-on-one with another person. And again, you don't know what they're going to say, and those two are friends, so they have a level of comfort together. And so this idea that he's apologizing for making cursory comments that, by the way, are directionally correct and resonant with a whole lot of people on the left, because a tiny minority slice pushed back on it. Just a great example. I mean, like, maybe they're worried about sponsors. Maybe they heard from sponsors, whatever it was. It's just a good example of not getting it. To use that word cursory, I mean, it's such a perfect example of how, in fact, I think they don't get it, even though they do get it. They're people who are doing it, even if you don't like it. They're kind of having these like authentic conversations, but they're still so married to this slice, this disproportionately loud slice of the far left. And it's not even like the radical leftists. It's like the center left cultural progressives who are defending Jasmine Crockett, who is a run-of-the-mill corporate Democrat. Ryan Grimm was on our show explaining that, with no populist bona fides other than eschewing norms in a rather Trumpian fashion. That is what she tries to, that's her packaging, right? She is centrism in progressive packaging, and it's kind of smuggling corporate centrism in this just centrist packaging, and maybe, or in this populist packaging. And I don't know what Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers politics, how far left they go. Something tells me that centrist Dem, corporate Dem politics probably aren't too offensive to them. But isn't that interesting? These two popular podcasters whose entire shtick is speaking off the cuff apologized for speaking off the cuff because other people with disproportionately amplified platforms were a little upset with them. It's open enrollment, of course. It's the time when health insurance companies hope you'll blindly sign up for overpriced premiums and confusing fine print. Do not fall for it. Take control of your health with Crowd Health, the alternative for people who make their own decisions. So stop playing the insurance game. Crowd Health is a community where members fund each other's medical bills directly. No middlemen, no networks, no nonsense. Traditional insurance left me feeling trapped and overcharged. We have all been there. But if you take a look at Crowd Health, it is different. So for under $100 a month, you can get access to bill negotiators, low-cost prescriptions, lab testing tools, and a database of vetted doctors. If something major happens, you pay the first $500, then the Crowd steps in to help with the rest. This feels like the freedom that we had. Maybe some of you remember it before healthcare became such a complete and total mess. And with ACA subsidies expiring, prices are skyrocketing. And Crowd Health members have already saved over $40 million by just refusing to overpay. This open enrollment, take your power back. Join Crowd Health to get started today for $99 for your first 3 months using code AFTERPARTY at joincrowdhealth.com. That's joincrowdhealth.com, code AFTERPARTY. Crowd Health is not insurance. Opt out, take your power back. This is how we win. Join crowdhealth.com.